All right, great. Thank you all for joining today after a hard night last night. I'm really excited to see how many people showed up for this. My name's Tom Fenton. I have many different jobs. I work for ControlUp, but in this case, I work for StorageReview.com and Virtualization and Cloud Review.com. And I have some interesting information, some interesting insights on how you can increase your guest per host using multimedia redirection by VMware. With that said, let's get after it. This is the abstract. This is what I'm going to be talking about. And I know what you guys all came here for. Does this work? What kind of percentages can I see? This is the best number I could come up with, which is a fantastic number. And it took me a while to get this number. I tried MMR in my lab. But it's just a lab, didn't really have a good data set to work with. By the way, I used to work at VMware. That's where I got this cool hat. Reached out to my friends at VMware and said, have you guys run any definitive studies? And they said, we don't got any numbers we can publish. And then I was at a conference 6 months ago, and I happened to be talking to a guy in the healthcare field. And MMR came up because how many of you guys have had a tough time buying servers over the last 2 years? A few of you, right? We need to get that guest density up. And they have the same problem. And fortunately, at the same time, they were obsoleting some of their older clients, thin clients, and they were bringing in some new thin clients. And they actually were able to get some studies, and they said, with these new thin clients, we can run MMR on them. And we saw like a 23% increase. So this is the number. Your mileage definitely will vary, but it's kind of an interesting touch point. So agenda, we're going to talk about the problem, the solution, and then how to get it. The problem. The last 3 years has just been crazy. We've done it, we, meaning you guys, have done a fantastic job enabling the remote workforce to work remotely. But we needed new tools to do that. We needed things like unified communications. People are using, that's probably not a great example, they're using work applications like Zoom to learn new technologies. All these sessions will be on YouTube, so you guys can learn from it as well. But this puts a lot of pressure on the virtual desktops, CPU, memory, and the networking. This is kind of your flow when you use traditional virtual desktops without multimedia redirection. You have the physical server with the hypervisor with your desktop, and the Zoom process, for example, is running in the virtual desktop, taking up CPU cycles, taking up memory cycles, and your network path is going, you could be talking to someone in the next building on Zoom, right? But the network path is going from your thin client up to your ESX host in your data center, coming back down to his ESX host, to his virtual desktop, and then going there, consuming network traffic. So what MMR does, the smart guys at VMware, what they did is say, hey, we can actually run this Zoom process because thin clients now are actually quite powerful. Even the low-cost ones have Celeron processors in them, and they can handle this load. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this Zoom process, or Zoom process and run it on the local client rather than in the virtual desktop, freeing that up. And we're going to route network traffic from the thin client to the other thin client, as you would if you're using physical desktops. And it does save a lot of resources. Here's a virtual desktop CPU usage. Running on the virtual desktop, you can see it is running 51 CPU load, which is kind of interesting because this is a dual vCPU virtual desktop, so it's consuming an entire CPU, right? Which can get expensive. Then I ran the same, kind of looking at it on a device itself, the thin client device. And then running without MMR, you can see the client isn't using a lot of CPU cycles, has a lot left. This is a 4-proc system, and so you got a lot of cycles there to work with. Oh, I'm sorry, let me go. And this is one of the devices I use. It's an LG all-in-one device. They're great. A lot of hospitals use them because they're field replaceable units. Everything is built into it. But it's relatively inexpensive. You know, it has 4 cores. You got a lot of power there. You got 4 gig of RAM to work with. So ran my test again. This is when I was running Zoom without MMR enabled, not using a whole lot of cycles. This is the client device. And then once I started MMR, it's using the cycles, but we got a lot of spare cycles there. So we're taking this load from the expensive virtual machine and shoving it down to the client where we have all these excess cycles to work with. This is the process on the client. This isn't the 4-proc system, this is the 2-proc system, because I think the Zoom process is single-threaded, so that's why it only takes advantages of single CPU. But you know, the Zoom process itself is taking up 50% of the CPU available cycles, or probably one entire CPU on the system. Looking at it on the virtual desktop, 6% CPU. So we went from 50-some CPU usage on the virtual desktop to 6%. You know, CPU cycles. And interestingly enough, there is a Zoom process still running in the virtual desktop, but the clever guys at VMware, as soon as you start that Zoom process, it transfers it seamlessly over to the thin client. So you will see a little bit of a Zoom process running in your virtual desktop, but the work is being done on the client itself. So the solution, how do you get this? When you install your Horizon agent, these are the notes. They do a great job documenting this. When you install the agent, just make sure you do a couple check boxes. If you are running something like Zoom, they have a plugin that you need to download and install. It's free to use. It's real easy to install, and it is supported by Zoom. Zoom realizes that we need this, and so they've been great about doing it. Also, you can do it for Teams. Actually, the Teams integration is built into the Horizon agent, so you don't really need to do anything with it. What else is supported? You can do it on Chrome, Edge, Zoom. All these are built in, WebEx, Google Hangouts, and there's others as well. So it really is well supported. So next step, you know, enable your desktops, download and install the plugin if needed, HTML5 multimedia redirection in the agent, and you know, kind of slowly increase the number of guests per host, and kind of monitor it and make sure it's doing what you're thinking and that you have it configured right. And then I wanted to put one more check box in here. Let me know how it works out for you. I'd love to get some more numbers on it if you do it. It's something that I'm interested in. I think it's a great way to save money. It's free and just kind of works. So anyway, we did it, guys. We did it within the time allocation. I do have a few other sessions that I was involved with, so you can go back and watch them at your leisure. So that's it. Please take the survey if you got a time, and I'll be here for questions afterwards. Thank you. I appreciate it.